What's up guys, this is Todd with TechT Paintball Products. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to install your Fang Trigger into your Tippmann Phenom. To install the Fang Trigger, the first thing that you need to do is remove the trigger frame from the body of the gun, and you do that by removing the two pins that hold the trigger frame in place. With the body removed, you can turn the safety down past the vertical position and pull the safety from the trigger frame. Then your trigger assembly should just come right out of the trigger frame. Now it's time to dismantle the trigger assembly. You do that by pulling up on the one side plate, then you pull up on the trigger. With the trigger removed, it's time to remove the trigger pivot pin, and that's this pin here, and you should just be able to push it, shoot it out the backside of the trigger assembly plate. Then you'll take the silver pin that comes with your Fang trigger and push it back through the plate so that it's flush with this back plate. With the old trigger removed, you can slide the new trigger onto the new pin and install one of the 3 return springs that come with the trigger. Here I'm using the lightest spring, and with all these springs you can cut about 1 turn off them and still have them work fine. We made them a little bit long so that you could have some adjusting when setting up your trigger. With the spring installed, you can rebuild the trigger assembly. Now it's ready to go back in the trigger frame. Now it's time to install the trigger assembly down into the trigger frame. Once you have that centered and in place, take your safety, line the safety up with the hole on the side of the trigger frame. And I like to put it to the first firing position, helps kind of hold it in place. You can take your body, carefully slide the two together, and put your pins back in. Now it's time to make our trigger adjustment. So here you can see I have the gun aired up and we're ready to start doing our adjustments. For the ease of this demonstration, I have removed my cyclone feed. You don't need to do that for this install, but I've done it just so that it's easier to video. The thing that you will need is a 1/16 inch Allen key. And that is the Allen key that we'll need to adjust the set screws in our trigger. And there are 2 set screws that we need to adjust. The first one that we're going to adjust is the bottom one, and that has a nylon tip set screw. And we're basically going to pull the trigger until we can get the gun to fire, and we're going to adjust that set screw so as soon as the gun fires manually, that set screw is there to stop the trigger pull. And so that's what we're going to do now. So the way that I like to adjust the nylon tip set screw is first I like to screw this set screw in far enough to where the gun will not fire when I pull the trigger. And so right now I'm turning it clockwise, and I'm just trying to push the set screw back through the trigger so that when I pull the trigger, it doesn't fire the gun. Just going to give it one more adjustment here. And it's still firing, so we need to go a little bit further. We can take a little bit more slop out of this trigger. For this particular trigger, we've already installed some Loctite, and you can see that it's already grabbing. You just need a little dab of red Loctite, and that should get it to where these set screws really want to hold on, and you shouldn't have to adjust them after you do it one time. But here you can see that we've adjusted it out far enough to where manually it does not fire the gun. And that's a good thing. Now, while applying pressure to the trigger, now I'm going to turn this set screw in the opposite direction until I can get the gun to shoot. And you can see it shot, so we're right there. Still not there. So we're going to do it a little bit more. You can see we're very close because when we put our Allen key in, it wants to shoot. So we're very, very close. And there you can see that we're firing every time, and our set screw is stopping us right after the gun fires. So now that set screw is where we need it, and now it's time to adjust our magnet set screw, and this positions the magnet in relation to the sensor that's on the electronic board. If you don't have the electronic board, then you're done. You've successfully adjusted the backstop, and that's all the adjustments that you have. You don't have to worry about the magnetic adjustment. But if you do have the E-trigger, then we are going to need to adjust the magnet set screw. The next thing we're going to do is adjust the magnet set screw that we just talked about. And you can see here, I've pushed that set screw all the way against the arm that has the magnet in it. And I've just gently pushed that set screw up against it. At this point, we're going to tighten that set screw in to actually push the magnet backwards. So the set screw is actually going to bend the metal on the trigger to push that magnet back, similar to the stock trigger. And all you need to do is adjust the gun to the second firing mode, or the fully automatic mode, whatever mode you have it set to. And you're going to pull the trigger in this mode, and you can see here that the gun is not actuating. We need to adjust that magnet to be closer to the sensor on the board in order to get it to actuate. So I'm just going to start doing the adjustment. I'm going to pull the trigger, and I'm going to adjust the set screw and push that magnet back until I can get the gun to fire. And once I can get the gun to fire, I'm going to turn it in probably another quarter to half a turn to ensure that with every trigger pull, it activates the board. So at this point, I've turned this set screw 4 quarter turns. I put my Allen key in and I turned it down. And I did that 4 times, and after about the 4th time, I was able to get the gun to fire. And you can see that it's cycling well and it's activating every time. From the point you can get the gun to fire, it's really up to you how much further you take that set screw. If you go back too far with it, then when the trigger comes forward, it's not going to reset the board. So you don't want to go too far back to get it to where right when you touch this it activates that board, because again then it won't reset and you'll have trouble. So once you get it to here, you've pretty much done it. You can put your gun back into safety, and that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions on how to set up your Fang trigger with your Phenom, visit TechTpaintball.com or give us a call at 901-405-1848. Thanks for watching, guys. Make it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, more than ever.